American Morning, the most news in the morning, period. Weekdays 6 Eastern.
And joining us now to talk more about this online outreach is Wired Magazine's senior editor Nicholas Thompson. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So is this an effective way to reach out to your constituency?
Absolutely. Look at the number of people who've responded. Look at the number of people who've submitted questions and the people who voted on the quality of other people's questions. I think it's working quite well.
But there is one problem, though. We were discussing this just before we went on. There are a number of different categories that the questions are put into. And in 5 of those categories, the marijuana lobby has hijacked the website. And they've got a lot of questions out there that have been voted on and have floated right to the top. And if he was to take it from this idea of we're going to answer the most popular questions, 5 of those categories, you'd be talking about marijuana.
Right. Well, this is one of the problems with internet outreach of all sorts. You know, it's very easy. The internet makes it easy to communicate with lots of people in different ways, and it also makes it very easy for people to hijack polls. And this is something we've seen throughout time. And the marijuana lobby has put up sites on marijuana.com saying, hey, the White House is open for questions. Go search for the word marijuana and vote everything up. And 5,000 people do that. Suddenly, it looks like marijuana is the most pressing issue in the country. Now, Obama's going to have to decide, well, how do we deal with this? Do we say, these people are trolls, let's ignore them? At Wired, we were saying, don't feed the trolls. Or does Obama say, well, you know, I said I'd answer the most popular questions.
Right.
Clearly, there are a lot of people concerned about the decriminalization of marijuana. Do I deal with it?
Obviously, a lot of very high-tech ballot box stuffing going on.
It is very high-tech ballot. But, so here's one of the advantages of the site. You submit questions, and then people vote yes or no. So if a lot of people were to go on this morning and say, look, marijuana legalization is not the most pressing problem facing the economy, and vote all those down, you know, 2,000 people remove those questions.
Here we are on CNN telling people to manipulate the website. This is going to work out really well, Nick, I'm afraid. Some questions did manage to get through that a lot of people will, obviously, you know, there are a lot of people who want to know about marijuana, but there are a lot of other people who want to know about jobs and education.
Right.
Here's one that comes from James in Bloomington, Indiana. He says, quote, as a student who, like so many others, works full-time and attends school full-time, only to break even at the end of the month, what is the government doing to make higher education more affordable for lower and middle-class families? You know, it's a great question. A lot of people are very much affected by all of this, you know, the bad economy, and they want to, you know, get a good education and all that, and they can't afford it. But how will the White House sift through 75,000 questions if you don't just take the most popular ones? How do you sift through all of this?
Well, there's an algorithm built into the site, and it weighs the number of votes for a question and the votes against a question, and also the questions flagged as inappropriate, which are also dealt with in a different way. So the people have actually already sifted through them fairly well. So there's sort of 10 questions in each category. Maybe the White House will look at the top 20, so, you know, 11 categories, 220 questions. You can have people go through 220 questions and find the 8 most interesting.
So it's interesting to watch how this has all evolved, too, in the last few years. The previous administration had an Ask the White House function on its website, I think 2 or 3 times a month, or maybe even as much as once a week at one point. They would have an official who'd sit down in front of the computer and answer questions in real time for about an hour or so. This is the first time they've taken it to this level. They've just recently hired a new chief technology officer. Where do you think it'll go from here?
Well, I hope that the next step, right now Obama's saying, ask questions and I'll answer them. I hope the next step is Obama asks questions and we answer them. And people vote on different people's answers. And people submit PDFs of reports they've written. You know, that's not going to work right now. As we've seen with this one, there are some hitches to work out. But this one's worked pretty darn well. And as this evolves, you're going to be able to get more sophisticated information from the wisdom of crowds and from the public.
And it certainly takes the process of democracy to a whole new level, doesn't it?
A very interesting new level.
Nick Thompson, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.